The Commission of Inquiry into the Usindiso building fire, it continues in Johannesburg this morning. Yesterday, a witness detailing how people died after jumping out of the building from their high floors. Zabi Khumalo telling the inquiry that he escaped death by using a washing line to climb down from the fourth floor. At least 77 people were killed and dozens of others left destitute after the August 2023 blaze. All right, let's speak now to Ziniko Mhlaba. He's been watching proceedings at that Commission of Inquiry. Ziniko, good morning to you. A major talking point is the criminal activities that have been taking place at the Usindiso building before the tragic fire happened. Just give us a summation of what has come out of that and what it is really that the occupants of that building, or should I say who it is that the occupants of that building were reporting to.
Good morning to you, Paul. You'll remember that at the start of the commission early in December 2023, the major focus in terms of the people who are coming in to testify, it was the state operators such as the South African Police Service, Emergency Management Services detailing, what they found in the building after the fire and as they were trying, to detect what might have caused the fire. So, the experts and government authorities such as law enforcement agencies such as SAPS and EMS, they were looking for clues which could lead them to finding out or giving them an idea in terms of what might have caused that fire. So things have taken a different turn right now. Remember that last week the commission called on the witnesses themselves and the victims themselves to take up the stand so that they share with the commission and the judge and the panel of commissioners and the rest of the legal representatives representing different bodies with an interest in this particular investigation. So what's been coming out from the very first witness who took the stand, which was Mr. Sihle Dube, he gave us insights on the operations of criminal, syndicates within the Usindiso building, saying that, well, when they initially moved into the building, remember that it was a shelter for abused women initially. However, in the past 10 years or past 5 years or so, it was turned into, it was hijacked, if I may use that word, and then people who are not abused and other genders started moving into that building. That's when criminal elements started popping up, especially saying that initially there wasn't much security needed within the building or within the property itself. However, as years went by, that's when people started noticing people with very, very bad intentions in terms of why they want to move into that building. Some of them started selling drugs within and outside that facility, and eventually they ended up operating their drug operations within the property themselves. That's where now residents or occupants of the building started grouping themselves according to different floors, and each floor had to come up with its own security measures. So that's what started, in the past 2 years or so. However, it became out of control because residents now could not condemn their fellow residents who they stay with, who see them, selling drugs. So even authorities will come in and arrest whoever would be arrested. However, later by the afternoon, that person will be back in the facility itself. So that's the major problem which these witnesses have exposed or have revealed and shared with the rest of us who are attending this particular commission. What was scary, or what has become scary from my own personal observation, is that you remember that there's a Mr. Mhlaba who had owned up to having started that fire. And what Mr. Mhlaba had told the court was that, and the commission which led to his arrest, was the fact that he had started that fire when he killed someone and tried to set that particular person, alight. And as a result, the fire got out of control and it became a fire that ended up killing 77 people. So what's interesting, the residents themselves, especially those who were presenting their testimonies here yesterday, said that it was not a new thing, it was not a strange thing that someone would be killed and then the killers would set that body alight, saying that she has witnessed that particular incident taking place, and there were 2 more incidents that had occurred even before the one that might have led to the fight that was started by Mr. Mhlaba, if it happens to be true. So that also tells you that there was that trend of murdering people and setting them alight inside the property. And we're talking about property now that has about informal settlements inside it, on the ground floor, on the first floor. So it becomes, interesting when you look at that and try to see if what Mr. Mdlalose has been saying and what these witnesses are saying. However, the witnesses are not putting their heads on the block in terms of identifying. All they are saying that when they are asked whether, do you know how the fire started? Where were you? What was happening in your own life? What were you doing leading up to those, early hours of the 31st of August? They are saying that, well, I just had rumors, but I cannot confirm and say I know who started the fire. But in terms of the patterns and the trends and the behaviors, it seems as if there is some common denominator which was shared by Mr. Mdlalose and what these witnesses have been saying so far.
Ziniko Mhlaba live for us there at the Commission of Inquiry, looking into the fire that gutted the Usindiso building in downtown Johannesburg.